Hey, yo, guys, welcome back to the number one podcast for people who think Justin Fields isn't even getting drafted in the first round. It's your boys, Keanan and Luke. This is Around the Leagues. Before we get into that, Luke, good afternoon. Say it back.
Hey, good afternoon.
I'll drink to that. Let's go.
Is that a Diet Coke? Coke Zero?
Caffeine,
Caffeine free?
caffeine-free Diet Coke. Let's get it.
Nothing
You know
like
how
that
I run.
gold can.
About that gold can Diet Coke, man. Can't beat it with a stick, let me tell you.
I would rather drink the juice off of a stick. That's questionable.
A lime Coke fan.
Yeah, listen, Lime Coke's where it's at. Yeah, exciting week. Baseball, nothing. Basketball, nothing. College sports, nothing. Champions League's on. That's good. Nico Horner, he's balling. He's still with the Cubs still. They haven't sent him back down yet. He's hitting like 450 since he got called up. Maybe keep him. But I'm not gonna rant about that today. Today's not the day. Not the time, not the place, not the setting, not the avenue. I'm making up words, but no, we're not bitching about the Cubs today, all right? You guys know Thursday night kicks off NFL draft.
Yep.
Best day of the year. Worst city in the country is where it's taking place. No offense, Cleveland, but hey, Joakim Noah was right. Nobody ever said they want to go on vacation to Cleveland. We got 32 picks coming out on Thursday. Here's a little preview of all 32.
Yeah.
No misses. 32 for 32. You're lucky I'm not going in with this whole 255, or I think it's how many total picks are this year. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to guess every pick.
Yeah, y'all lucky.
But
So for everybody, this is the answer key. Okay, go get your FanDuel, go get your DraftKings, go get your BetMGM, your William Hill Sports, whichever. Go hit up the player props. Go hit the how many Alabama players get drafted in the first round prop. It's the answer key. Okay, if you want to make a little bit of money.
I have made several bets on different player props. So, hey, no offense, but Ian Book, I took that over 207. All right, you're not getting in the sixth round. If you do, I'm going to be real pissed. I saw Chris Sims. I know Chris Sims gets a lot of hate, and, I understand, like, people don't like a lot of his takes. He's right a lot of the time about his quarterback rankings and stuff like that. But his mock came out today, and he had Justin Fields going 32nd overall. Listen, nobody in the NFL is letting Tom Brady get Justin Fields as his backup for a year, all right? He ain't falling to 32. He ain't falling to 24. He's probably not falling to 20. Washington at 19 is his floor. That's going to be my guess.
Are you sure he doesn't? If he is there at 12, I think he is off the board.
Yeah, well, his floor is 19. His ceiling is like 4.
Ooh, oh, that's a spicy. Okay, so you just spoiled it a little bit there.
No, I just think it's not super unfathomable that he goes 4th overall. Kyle Pitts, who's most likely going to go 4, he said today that he thinks quarterbacks go 1 through 4. We'll see. Justin Fields should go 2. I'll say it. I'll continue to say it. I'll say it throughout his career. I do not care. He should go number 2. I'm glad he's not, because I'm glad Zach Wilson gets thrown into the AFC East with Josh Allen.
Save that energy, boy.
First two picks are done. We know.
We haven't even gotten to 1 yet. So, guys, this is an NFL draft show today. If you don't like the NFL draft, we'll see you next Sunday or whenever we do the next show. Things are going to get a little bumpy here coming up, but we'll get into that later. Anyway, with the number 1 overall pick, does Jacksonville trade or do they take?
It's pretty obvious. They gave Trevor Lawrence the playbook about, 6 months ago. Trevor Lawrence was going 1. If you guys, I'm using the Draft Networks thing just so it's a visual for everybody. Everybody can see it. I'm going to throw some trades in here probably.
Wow.
I'm not gonna throw in like what's gonna go each way. It's just gonna be, hey, if they're swapping first, I'm putting the first in there, and then I'm gonna just throw whatever they tell me to throw in there to make it work. But it's not
Yeah.
the actual trade value.
And that's wild. You got Trevor Lawrence going number one from Clemson. All right, that's spicy. That is
Yeah, I mean nobody saw that one coming
no.
in 2016. I mean, I guess the Jets thought they were going to get him. They settled for the fourth best quarterback in this class. Jets at 2. I think it's pretty much locked in. They're taking Zach Wilson. They're not going to come out and say it because they're not allowed to say it. Jacksonville's allowed to say whatever they want. They can give Lawrence the playbook. They can say they're taking him because they have the first pick. Nobody's in front of them. Jets aren't allowed to say anything like that. They're not, because they have to let the board fall. If they're taking Zach Wilson, it's fine.
Oh, that is spicy.
He's gonna join a good Dolphins team, a really good Bills team, and a Patriots team that's bouncing back quite a bit. Meanwhile, Trevor Lawrence is going to Jacksonville, where the AFC South is falling apart. And I mean, yeah, I think Trevor Lawrence is already a clear-cut Rookie of the Year candidate. Pretty much, I don't see anybody. If the Niners make the right pick, their quarterback could be Rookie of the Year. They're not going to make the right pick. I can't. I don't know. I don't know who to pick. I think it's Mac Jones, but I really think part of me thinks it's Trey Lance. It's not Justin Fields. Mac Jones. Listen, I saw this yesterday. It reminded me. We go back. We talk about how Mac Jones is this cerebral quarterback, knows the offense. He's not gonna wow you with his traits, but he's gonna blow you away with his football IQ. Mac Jones has 2 DUIs and was a backup to Tua last year, who got drafted, I think, 6th overall. Trey Lance was offered a scholarship to Cornell. The first scholarship Justin Fields ever got was Harvard. So you can throw IQ and brain, all this bullshit race card out of here, okay? Mac Jones is not as smart as the other 2 quarterbacks, and he's not as talented as the other 2 quarterbacks. But Kyle Shanahan is struck with, I'm taking Mac Jones. Well, Mac Jones sucks. You take Mac Jones, Jimmy G's keeping his job, okay? And you're not trading up from 12 to 3 for a quarterback to keep his job. So that's why I'm thinking Trey Lance is going 3. They're going to get pressure taking Trey Lance. Trey Lance is dating Colin Cowherd's daughter, I believe.
Is that true?
He's been at his house, and they have been talking. So I'm just saying.
That's kind of spicy.
It's going to help his case a little bit. But I think Trey Lance, in my opinion, has the best arm in the class.
How does Trey... Cowherd lives in Los Angeles. This dude's from North Dakota State.
He's training in L.A. Duh.
Man, that's a little spicy.
Yeah, but Lawrence is the best quarterback in the class. Trey Lance is the best arm in the class. He's got the most zip. He's not going to be up there with like Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes, but he's right there below him. Very good arm, especially as like an intermediate thrower. I mean, you're not going to find a lot of guys with as much. Just his pro day was popping. That's all I can say. I mean, every single throw was just bam. You know, that's a football term you guys wouldn't understand. Bam. But he's a very good runner too. I know a lot of people are going to say he runs like Lamar Jackson. I don't think that's true at all. I think he just runs a lot. He runs similar to Justin Fields, where it's not as much of I'm going to take you on with my speed and agility, which they can do. They're not there to avoid tackles. They're there to run through linebackers. I love it. I don't care about injury risk, bro. You're drafting a quarterback. You want 8 years out of him. If he's not good after 8 years, hey, you got 8 good years, all right? Trey Lance, number 3. He's going to be a top 10 prospect when it's all said and done. I like him better than Zach Wilson as well. But, hey, it's not for me to decide, right? Atlanta at 4 is where things start getting kind of interesting. Do they go with the hometown kid Justin Fields and keep him?
I don't know. Things were pretty interesting at 3. I mean, that was a spicy pick.
It's not that bad. They're down to one of the 2 guys. It's either Lance or it's Mac Jones, and they should do the right thing and take Trey Lance. The Falcons, do they take a quarterback to sit behind Matt Ryan when they have a lot of stuff they need to fix? Probably not. Kyle Pitts is the best player on the board right now. Do you take a tight end in the top 5 when your team's really not that good and your defense has about 14,000 things to fulfill? Probably. That would be a pretty dangerous offense. They could also trade back. You look at a team like Denver wanting to get up ahead of Carolina to get a quarterback. Atlanta's not going to trade with Carolina. The Lions could look at quarterback. The Giants, the Eagles could move up. I don't know why the Eagles wouldn't move up, but they have said that they're looking into trading into the top 10. Hey, you were in the top 10 2 months ago. You could have just sat there. I'm sorry you made a mistake. To keep it fun, we're going to go Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts is the guy. Best prospect on the board right now for a lot of people. I still think it's Sewell, but hey, we'll get there. Hey, Joe Burrow balled out last year for half a season.
Yeah.
And then his knee got eviscerated. And we're sitting here talking like, they're going Penei Sewell. They're fixing that offensive line. They're going to be all good. No, they're not. Joe Burrow's going to pressure them so bad into taking Jamar Chase, and I love it. You got Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd with Joe Mixon in the backfield. That offense is fun. You got Riley Reeve at left tackle in free agency, who's not bad. He was very serviceable for Minnesota the last few years. You can still get an interior guy like Landon Dickerson or Creed Humphrey at the top of the second round. Go all in. Get Jamar Chase. Get the best receiver in this class. Bengals for the big bucks. He's rocking that number 1 in Cincinnati, bring back those single digits. They're balling out. Bengals win the AFC North. And I'm just kidding. They ain't going that high. Now the Dolphins, do they take a quarterback and pressure Tua? No. Do they take an offensive lineman? Maybe. They could take Sewell. They just got rid of Eric Flowers, who, listen, not that good of a player. I don't hate the idea of Penei Sewell at 6, but hey, they wanted Jamar Chase. They wanted Kyle Pitts. They moved back and missed out on both of them. So you know what they do? They get Jalen Waddle. They get a different receiver. Jalen Waddle's going in the top 10. Lock it in. Dolphins, that receiving core's fun. They don't have a running game, but hey, they'll fix it. They got plenty of time in this draft, buddy. Now,
mega spicy. That's mega spicy.
Justin Fields is still sitting here at 7, and 3 teams in a row could use a quarterback. The Lions could take one if they don't trust Jared Goff. The Panthers could take one in case Sam Darnold doesn't pan out. And the Broncos could use one because, well, they don't really have one, okay? I love Drew Lock. He's not the answer.
Nah, man, they got Kendall Hinton, dude.
That is a good point. It's not. I keep wanting to make this a trade for Denver to jump up, but I don't think that they like Justin Fields because they're stupid. Let's make it interesting. There is going to be a trade, okay? Where are they at? The Lions are going to be getting the offer. And know who's sending it? New England, baby.
Ooh.
New England jumps up. They throw in 15. They give him 7. They're going to give him a future first. Give him a future third just to make this thing work. Oh, shit. They're calling. Ring, ring, ring. Oh, are they going to take it? Yeah, they're going to take it. Oh, shit. Patriots move up, and they want Micah Parsons. I'm just kidding. They get Justin. Patriots get Justin Fields. I like him as a replacement for Cam. They do run very similar. They're just big body guys, but Fields is a better thrower than Cam Newton is right now. He's got insane arm talent, good in the pocket, good in space.
That was well done, by the way. That was pretty good.
So we're 7 picks in right now, and there's been nothing but offensive skill positions and quarterbacks going. So gotta love it. Hey, that offensive players in the first round over 18.5, go ahead and book it. I love that pick. Panthers at 8. Penei Sewell is the only one that makes sense. Rashawn Slater's the one that's going to make a lot of people really pissed off, but it can happen because they're both very good. But Slater might not have the arm length they're looking for. It's probably going to keep him out of being OT1. Both can play a little bit of guard. Panthers already got, I think it's Taylor Moton is playing the right tackle spot. Go get Penei Sewell. Protect Sam Darnold so he can throw picks under a clean pocket instead of under pressure. That way you know it's his fault. All right. Penei Sewell's off the board. 8 straight offensive players taken. Broncos.
Penei Sewell, by the way, he didn't play last year at all. He opted out of the season. So we have no tape on him in like the last, 12 months at least? The last 12, 18 months?
Yeah, same as Slater. Slater opted out after, I think he only played 1 year, maybe 2.
Yeah.
At Northwestern.
So it'll be interesting to see. That's Penei Sewell. I mean, the tape on him was good, but I feel like that's kind of a riskier pick because you don't know if he's developed much in the last year. I mean, it feels like there's a little bit of an unknown compared to the previous 7 players drafted on that board.
Right, and even with those previous 7, let's see, Trey Lance didn't play in the spring or in the fall. He had 1 game in the spring. No, he had 1 game in the middle of the fall, and that was it. Jamar Chase opted out, but he didn't need to play. He was wide receiver 1 from the jump. He was balling on NFL corners at 19 years old. Penei Sewell didn't play last year. Jalen Waddle played half the season but broke his ankle, came back in the natty. Shouldn't have come back, but he did.
Yeah.
A lot of question marks, but I don't think the opting out really hurt as many people as we expected it to. There's going to be guys later in the draft that it's probably going to affect, but at the top, it really didn't have any sort of impact. We still see Jamar Chase as a top 5 guy. Broncos at 9 is tough because I think they could trade back, but I don't know anybody in the draft right now that would trade with them. I mean, maybe you look at the Giants trying to get ahead of Dallas to get their offensive linemen, but I don't think Dallas is going that direction. So that said, Broncos, they get the first offensive guy off the board.
Ooh.
And they lock in Patrick Surtain II. They got Fuller in free agency. Their defense is very fun. It's very good in the secondary. But hey, just keep adding young pieces. I think Fuller was only signed for 1 year. You get a guy to back him up. And Surtain's very much ready for the NFL. Balled out at Alabama. I've seen a lot of people have him compared to Xavier Rhodes in his early years at Minnesota, or with Minnesota. Not a bad comp at all. Dude was very solid. You get a guy like Surtain in there, you still have good pass rushers. You need to fix your linebacking group, but you're not taking Micah Parsons at 9 when you have a lot of question marks on that roster. I mean, you need running back. You need a better offensive line at some point. It's not horrible, but it could be better. You need to go quarterback. You need to get maybe a younger safety because I think right now you have Kareem Jackson as your only option next to Justin Simmons. But Broncos aren't in a horrible spot. If they did get a quarterback right here, they're a contending team in 2 years. But we'll have to see how that pans out next year. Dallas at 10, they really wanted Surtain. I'm telling you, they had to take him. He's not there. Slater is probably making the most sense right now. It's Slater and it's J.C. Horn. They took Diggs last year. He worked out okay. They lost a safety. I'm going to go J.C. Horn because I've heard he's going higher than you expect, and I expect him to go between 10 and 12. So, I mean, if he's not going by 10, he's supposed to go higher than he's expected. He's got to go 10, right?
Yeah.
Especially with Surtain off the board. Offensive line is going to start flying now.
So you only have just looking at your roster here. You have no Big 12 teams, or no Big 12 players in the top 10. You have 1 ACC player, and then you got what, a couple Alabama, LSU. I mean, I don't know. Is it the SEC's year as it always is, or
yeah?
Okay.
I mean, your top 2 corners are going to be from the SEC. The only good tight end in this class that's worthy of being a top 50 pick is from the SEC. You're going to have a quarterback from the SEC going here in a minute anyway. Yeah, it's them, and then it's like Ohio State. And Virginia Tech's going to have a lot of guys drafted, but it's not going to be enough to, overwhelm. I mean, the SEC is going to run right through Which is an absolute shock. They've only had it's only 5 guys in the top 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. It's not bad. 6.
Oh, no, never mind. It is fine.
Jeez, man.
I know. I'm slipping.
But there wasn't one in the top 3. Alabama sucks, dude. They were the 3rd SEC team to have a player get drafted. Yeah, they're so bad. This is where, okay, the Giants, I think, are going to have a very good draft. But the thing that's interesting is, like, they're picking right ahead of Philly. And they know Philly needs that receiver. And with the other corners off the board, they're not going to be looking at that spot. Do the Giants simply take Devontae Smith just so he doesn't go to the division rival?
No.
Doesn't go to Philly? Or do they take Rashawn Slater and fix next to Andrew Thomas and I don't remember the other tackle, Matt Pert. But then you'd have to play him on the inside. Nah. The Giants take Devontae Smith.
No.
You get a versatile weapon who weighs 112 pounds. And the Eagles are sitting here staring face down. You said you wanted a quarterback at 12 if one's there.
Oh, no, God.
And Mac Jones is sitting there.
Oh,
No, they're not taking Mac Jones.
Oh, man, I was kind of hoping we would get Devontae Smith. I mean, the dude, he's small. He's quick. He's got some, he's got them fast twitch muscle fibers. And just to be quite honest with you, there's no receivers on Philly's team. I mean, God bless J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, but that dude's not going to be a wide receiver one for any team in the league.
Why get Devontae Smith when you already have a very small, undersized receiver with a lot of speed in Jalen Reagor, Just get Devonta Smith and run 90 jet sweeps a game.
I mean, it's not a bad idea.
Sirianni's going to be balling.
Reagor couldn't stay healthy last year, though, so that's this is something. Yeah, this is the depressing draft already.
Yeah, I think Philly's in one of the worst. Philly and New Orleans are in 2 of the worst spots because of where the value's falling in front of them. Which we'll see. This is my live version, right? So I don't know how it's going to fall to the Saints. But do the Eagles have to trade back? Because they're not going to take an offensive lineman. Actually, I know what they're doing.
Could they trade back and get a future first for this pick?
Only if they fall back. Maybe to like. It'd have to be to a very back end of the first. So it'd have to be like Baltimore at 27. Maybe Pittsburgh at 24, but I don't know if they're going to move up. Everybody else, it's not worth giving up a first to go up like 8 spots at this point. When there's not a
Seattle. I mean, would Seattle look at potentially trading into the first round? They don't have a first rounder this year.
I mean, they could, but they don't have. I mean, their only pick is like very end of the second, if that. They might not even have a pick until the 3rd, so they would have to give up a lot of future stuff, and it would just be
too much.
It'd be very interesting to see, because I don't think Philly is in a spot to where, because they already have a lot of picks. They're not going to want to move back from 12 to like 70 and just get a bunch of stuff for the future when they're trying to get Hurts enough, at least something to work with around them. Philly, man, this is a rough spot. I mean, Miami could move up, but they already moved with Philly. That's not going to happen. Washington can move up for Mac Jones, but they don't want to do that because they're not stupid. Bears aren't going to come up for Mac Jones. Eagles are pretty much stuck in a bad spot, which is great. Yeah. I think they take Quiddy, the edge out of Michigan, which is great news for me because I do not want him on the board for the Vikings at 14 because I know that they would take him, and I don't think he's at. So I don't like his fit at all.
We just took the 23rd best available at 12.
He was like 14th best available, 23rd overall.
Oh, that's rough, man.
Hey, bad teams draft poorly.
Okay, you got me there. That's a pretty good. That's pretty good.
I just keep waiting for this offensive line run to start, and it's not. But this is where it's going to start. Slater's going to go 13 to the Chargers. Ooh. They've needed offensive line help since, I don't know, 2007. They just can't find luck with it. Vikings are sitting here at 14. I would expect them to look to trade back, maybe even trade up, but since they keep falling, they get Darisaw at 15 or at 14. I like Darisaw. He's my favorite pick for them, probably right now, unless Slater's there, but I don't think he's going to be. Take Darisaw, fix your offensive line. Lions still there at 15. They don't have the receiver that they were looking for, maybe at 7. They're not going to go corner that high. Rough spot for the Lions. But they don't care. They're ready to make their team better, and they take... Oh, this is such a bad spot for them. Is there a wide receiver worth looking at? At 15? Ugh. Man, the Lions are in a bad spot. Let's see. Their offensive line, they have Decker. I don't hate it. Let's just guess. Let's just say, hey, we're shoring up that line, and we're getting Elijah Vera Tucker. Very good pick. Safe pick. We're not risking on a high-risk corner again. We're not taking a receiver that's a little bit out of our range. We'll get one later. Shore up the offensive line. Give Jared Goff enough of a pocket because he was with the Rams, and it was not pretty. Man, tough go for the Lions. This is working out great as a Vikings fan. Cardinals at 16. Vera Tucker would have been great for them. I don't think they go Caleb Farley because of the injury concern. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. Get a linebacker. Not Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons wasn't the first off the board, which is a shock to a lot of people. I know. It's what we're here for. We're here for the surprise element. JOK's the most versatile defender in this class, in my opinion. Even though he's a Notre Dame guy, I'm going to be honest with you, I think he's good. I know a lot of people are like, oh, you can't say that. He's Notre Dame. Oh, listen, the dude's good, all right? I'll be honest with you. The guy's pretty good at the old football. It's weird that they took Isaiah Simmons last year, but hey, you're just adding a lot of guys that can just be playmakers on defense, and then let Kyler and the offense go to work. Our offense is in a pretty good spot. They need a running back, but they'll figure it out. James Conner's not the answer before you get ahead of yourself. Raiders, 17. Gruden, you never know what he's going to do. You think, oh, dude, the value is there for all these different guys. Tevin Jenkins is probably the best pick. They're probably taking Christian Barmore to play defensive tackle in the top 17 because the Raiders don't know how to draft. They took Cleveland Farrell a couple of years ago, way ahead of where he should have went. I'll give him benefit of the doubt and give him Tevin Jenkins because they gutted their offensive line. But that's not going to be a surprise if that's not the pick, okay? If they take Najee Harris and just have a 3 running back committee, I'm just going to be like, yeah, it's Mike Mayock, okay? Let him run his thing and whatever. Raiders aren't going to draft well. We know that. Dolphins, easy. They get the top edge in the class, Jalen Phillips at 14 or at 18.
That's a nasty pick.
He's home. He was number 1 recruit in the country coming out of high school. Got hurt, struggled to stay on the field at UCLA. Came in, moved to Miami his final year. Balled out with Gregory Rousseau opting out. Now he's at edge 1 in a very not good edge class. Dolphins got to get somebody. They've tried to get edges forever. I remember Charles Harris being the next savior of that defensive line. He wasn't. But Dolphins are very good. They're going to be a team to watch, especially if the draft does pan out in their favor. Washington, man, Mac Jones is still available. I do not expect him to be. I don't think he falls this far simply because.
What do you mean you don't think he falls this far? You just give us all your picks.
I know, but I think he goes top 10, but I don't know where he would go, and I don't like his fit with any of those spots, especially with how the board already fell. Washington, if he falls to him, I think they have to take him, even though I would love Micah Parsons in that spot. Give Washington bad quarterback. Oh, wow, they just moved on from Alex Smith and got a less athletic Alex Smith. Awesome. Bears, they're heartbroken. They really wanted him. Offensive tackles make sense. They stay home. They get Greg Newsome, corner out of Northwestern. He's in that tier. top 3 corners.
You sure they're not taking Ian Book at 20?
They could. I mean, if they really wanted to go all out. They don't want to bring in too much competition for Andy Dalton. I get that. They don't want to scare him off. Real quick, I will say, Davis Mills is going at the end of the first round bullshit. It's the same as Jarrett Stidham a couple years ago. No, he's not. You can keep trying to push it on Good Morning Football and NFL Live and all this stuff that some quarterback sneaking in. He's not. He's not going probably top 50. I don't think he should go in the top 75. I wouldn't take him in the top 100, but he's going to go probably in that 50 to 60 range. So, whatever. Make that mistake all you want. If you're drafting a quarterback at the bottom of the second round, you're not doing yourself a favor because you don't expect him to start right away and you don't expect him to be a backup. So what's your plan? You're using a top 50 pick on a backup quarterback? That doesn't make any sense.
I mean, the Eagles just did it last year, and, I mean, look how well that turned out.
I mean, yeah, we don't know what their plan is. So just kudos to that. There's only 15 teams in the NFC with a playoff spot right now because they've knocked themselves out of that conversation. Colts, the Colts are going to draft well. They always do, especially with Ballard. They're not going to take Parsons. They don't need him. Caleb Farley makes sense. Even with an injury history, you can put him if he hits. Your defense is very, very good. Leatherwood, makes a lot of sense. But do they go receiver and take Rashad Bateman or Rondell Moore? Oh, I hate picking for the Colts so much. I don't know what their plan's going to be. So we're going to give them Caleb Farley.
Ooh.
My top with the injury caveat, he might not make it into the first round. We'll see. They said he might need a spinal fusion. I don't know what that entails, but it doesn't sound good. It's a big risk to take on a guy who you don't know if he's going to play. But a very good ball coverage corner. I don't know. I'd be pissed if the Colts got him, but he's so good. Titans at 22. Micah Parsons still on the board. That off the field stuff is really going to eat him alive. The Titans take a linebacker. No shot. They take Elijah Moore, wide receiver, Ole Miss. Coming out of nowhere. It ain't that bad of a pick. He's top 5 receiver in this class for a lot of people. Plays next to A.J. Brown. He's going to ball out. Tennessee got rid of Corey Davis. They need to find a way to replace him. You already got a good run game. You blew your first-round pick last year on a tackle that didn't even make the roster after a year. Don't make that same mistake. You go get a playmaker. Your offense is solid. Titans for the division win next year. We're putting it in stone. All right. We're not going to get too fancy-schmancy over here. Titans are winning that bad division. Jets took Zach Wilson. And they get really lucky with Micah Parsons falling to them. I probably would expect them to go with a corner or maybe a receiver at this spot because they do need to fix a receiving core. But Parsons is there. Your defense has not been good for a long time.
Ooh.
You go and get Parsons. You get a guy that can play pretty much anywhere in the back or in the second level of defense. He can pass rush if you need him to, but he's going to be your off-ball kind of linebacker, be your Mike. Go get him. End his slide. He could go as high as the top 10. I just don't see a team that would want to take that chance right now. Jets get a playmaker after blowing the first pick. I'll tell you. I don't hate that for them. And now I know last week we talked about does a running back go first round? And I said probably not. And I don't think he should. But Pittsburgh got rid of their offensive line. I don't think that they could like what's available in this draft right now unless they move up. Obviously that wasn't the case. They stand pat. They take Najee Harris to replace James Conner. They don't want to bring in too much competition for old Big Ben over here. Get him a running back. Let the offense have weapons around him so they don't have to rely on his deep shot. Or really, you don't have to trust Big Ben to be that good. I mean, you made the playoffs last year and he was pretty dog shit. Now you get Najee Harris, who's a huge step up from James Conner, in my opinion. You don't see this a lot from Pittsburgh, but hey, they go get their guy. They get very good running back. Not my running back one, but he's a lot of people's. He's going to be a lot of teams running back one. It'll be fine. He'll work out. He'll be a stud out of the gate. Steelers trying to stay alive in the AFC North, but I don't think they're going to. But hey, not a bad pick. As long as it's not a top 15 pick on a running back, you can live with it. Jacksonville, their second pick of the first round. They got this, I believe, is the Jalen Ramsey trade. They got Trevor Lawrence. They have a lot of good receivers. I don't know if they want to add one this high. They could take one, I think, in like 6 picks, and they pick at 33. That's 8 picks, actually. That was just a test to see your mental math skills. Offensive tackle I really like for them, but does even Collins make sense? Does Azeez Ojulari make sense? I'm going to give Rashad Bateman. Why not? Get him a good receiver in there. He's going to go first round. It's just a matter of if it's there or Baltimore. He's going high. He's going to go to Jacksonville. He's going to be like their third receiver right out of the gate, and a very good third receiver. Trevor Lawrence now has DJ Chark, Laviska Shenault, Marvin Jones, and Rashad Bateman to work with. Yeah, he's going to be pretty happy about that. Get the offensive line later. Ooh, Browns. Yeah, they're taking Zaven Collins. Anthony Barr, light. Not going to be an explosive edge, but he's going to be a very good middle of the defense linebacker who can play in the run game and can cover well enough to stay on the field for 3 downs. Browns' defense is really bad. They've tried to fix it. They got Jadeveon Clowney in free agency for a year. Don't have to risk it taking an edge this high. Not a horrible pick. I don't love it, but you can only do so much. You know, you're picking 26. Your team's pretty much solid. Your offense is good to go. Your defense needs a little bit of tuning. You go get a stud that can play all 3 downs. Big whoop. Ravens, they've got 2 first-round picks now. They got to clean up the offensive line, but they also need to work on the defensive line. They got to work on the secondary. They don't have a receiver. Poor Lamar Jackson's going to be thrown to Hollywood once again. He's probably not ecstatic about it. I don't see a wide receiver at this spot that makes a lot of sense for him. So they take Joe Tryon, edge out of Washington. Potential to be the top edge in this class when it's all said and done. I don't think he's going to be a superstar out of the gate. It might take him a year or 2 to hit that spot, but being in Baltimore's defense is going to do wonders for him. I do love that fit. And at 27, that's not a bad value for a position. It's pretty much, I mean, it's a premier position in the NFL. It's quarterback, left tackle, edge, and corner are your top 4 positions. So go get a stud edge in the first round with one of your 2 picks. Hopefully it pans out. Saints 28. This is why I said it gets tough for them. They need cornerback, they need wide receiver.
Look at all the cornerbacks and wide receivers available.
Wide receivers gone. All right. And I mean, unless you're moving Taysom Hill to corner, which they're probably going to bullshit and say, well, we could do it if we asked him to. You're going to have to reach on a guy. Their offensive line's too good. Ojulari, maybe. I'm going to give him Eric Stokes to play corner opposite Lattimore. I think Stokes he's going to be a first rounder. I think he's not going to fall far into the second round, but I think 28 is a good spot for him. He doesn't have to be the number 1 right away. He can sit there and he can be a 2. He doesn't have to be a follower right away, but a rough spot for the Saints. I think they might end up trading out. Packers 29. They gotta fix their offensive line. They gotta add receivers. They can't add a corner. They're gonna go out there. They're gonna get Kadarius Toney to be an ankle breaker in the slot. Really high value for him.
No. Come on now. The Packers haven't drafted an offensive weapon outside of quarterback since the Bush administration. They're not taking a wide receiver.
I mean, I wholeheartedly agree, but they didn't get any further last year by taking Jordan Love and A.J. Dillon. All right. They got to go get somebody in there. It's too predictable in been too easy to shut down Marquez Valdez-Scantling and Alan Lazard and St. Brown, right? You go get somebody else in there to make it a little bit easier. That's very high for Tony. I think he probably goes in like the 40s. But Green Bay reaching on the receiver simply because they don't want to get pressured into it later in the draft, it makes total sense to me. Got to keep Aaron Rodgers happy.
I feel you.
Buffalo at 30. Jason Owe. He's going to sneak into the first round as a developmental edge, and Buffalo doesn't need like 10, 12 sacks from a rookie right away. They need a guy that can come in and fill one side of their line. I think they still Jerry Hughes. Defense is very good, as we know. Offense is coming along. They might want to add a receiver and a running back at some point. But you get Owe, you've got a guy that you can mold into one of the top edge rushers in the league if he hits his ceiling, which is very high. He's got all the traits. He's got length, speed, bend. He's just very raw. Go get him at 30. Take that chance, and don't let him fall. If he goes to Baltimore at 31, you're probably seeing him in the playoffs a lot. Don't want that to happen. Baltimore, they need a receiver still. They need an edge. They took an edge. Trevon Merrick, I think it's Merrick. My apologies. Do you think safety goes first round? You don't want it to. But Merrick's the best safety in this class. He's got the best coverage skills. He's a very good hitter down near the box. He can play in the box. He can play deep. He can play single high. Ravens need a defensive playmaker that can back up. You have Marlon Humphrey and Marcus Peters, and I believe they might still have Jimmy Smith. You put a big-time safety behind him, you already give up nothing out of the air. Now you're really struggling to throw on this team. They'll get a receiver later. They've got the picks to go do it. Man, it's a rough spot for Baltimore, really. They don't have an offensive tackle anymore because they got rid of Orlando Brown, but don't hate it at all. That brings us to our last pick. Before I click it, I'll just say the pick, and then I'll go through the top available going into the next round on Friday night. I don't think Tampa Bay's taking a receiver. I don't think they're probably not taking a running back.
Can I take a guess? Oh, wait, never mind. All right, never mind. I was going to say, is this going to be like a Clyde Edwards-Helaire situation?
It could be. I mean,
fifth year on the.
If they wanted to, I wouldn't be. I mean, if they wanted to go up and get Javonte Williams, I wouldn't hate it, or Travis Etienne. But
that's what I was thinking. Etienne.
Yeah. I mean, obviously they're ready to win right now. They're not gonna. I mean, if you take Ojulari, you're not really gonna need to play him a whole lot because you've got what is that guy? Shaq Barrett is still there, but you can put him opposite. Barmore, I think, is gonna end up going. That's gonna be my pick is Christian Barmore.
Ooh.
A defensive tackle does go in the first round. This is also a trade back spot in case a team wants to come up and grab somebody for that fifth year, but there's not really anybody worth taking for that reason. So with Barmore gone, the draft network would have Ojulari, Leatherwood, and Davis as the top three guys left. Me personally, the top guys available going into day 2 would be Javonte Williams, North Carolina running back, Terrace Marshall, LSU wide receiver. Ojulari would be up there. I'm trying to think who else would be if I scroll down. Rondell Moore's up there. Boogie Basham's up there. Peyton Turner they have going very high. Kelvin Joseph's going to be a name to watch. He transferred to LSU. I still think Gregory Rousseau's he's my edge one in this class, but I don't think he's going first round. He might not go second round. And then Javon Holland is my top safety left. So De'Ami Brown's a good one. There's a lot of good talent on day 2. Usually you'll see that picks 32 to like 45 is where you're going to start finding you're going to see a lot of teams trading up to lock in their guys. You're going to see a lot of high impact. You're going to see wide receivers, running backs, and offensive tackles flying off the board at the end of the first round and into the second because that's where you get a lot of guys who they're a little bit cheaper than first-round picks, but they have enough. I mean, they're good enough to be high-impact players. You're going to find impact offensive linemen through probably middle around 4 of this draft. ETN, I don't think, man, he's going to be tough to pick. I think he's going to be the third running back off the board. But him and Williams are both neck and neck. Landon Dickerson's probably the best interior guy left right now. The interior offensive line class is interesting because Dickerson and Humphrey both have question marks. I think Humphrey's a left-handed center, so that's going to push him down teams' boards. Dickerson has an injury problem. I think he tore his ACL. He tore his ACL at Alabama. He might have got hurt at Florida State as well. But yeah, day 2 is going to be so much fun. That's probably my favorite day of the draft anyway. But yeah, there you have it. All 32 picks etched in stone. You now know where to make your prop bets.
Ooh.
This is. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Is there like any particular Eagles or any prospect you want the Eagles to get?
Well, the problem is that the options you had at 6, which you tanked the last game on Sunday Night Football for, by the way, the options that you have at 6 far exceed the number of options that you have at 12, right? If you at 6, you're potentially still in the market for Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, if you're looking receiver, right? I don't think, hell, even if, say quarterbacks do go 1 through 4, that means you're getting either Kyle Pitts or Penei Sewell at number 6, barring on what Cincinnati does at 5. And so the fact that they traded back out of 6 just really, I don't know. I can see why they want to trade back into the top 10. But, yeah, you're giving up the first rounder that you got from Miami next year to do so. Yeah, and
I don't understand trading back before the board falls.
Yeah, and maybe that was they didn't get enough value to do so. If they would have gotten like 2 first rounders, maybe, but they only got a first rounder and they moved back, and I want to say they got another pick out of it, but it was like a later round pick. That's really depressing because you saw the talent that was at 12. That's not very promising, especially if Devontae Smith goes off the board at 11. Personally, I would love it if we got Devontae Smith. That was the person that as soon as I found out we were picking 6, I was kind of like, hey, I'd like to have, Heisman winning guy on the team. Guy's explosive, guy's twitchy. As long as he could figure out how not to get hit, just running towards the sidelines and using some elusiveness, perhaps, he can be a real playmaker for the Eagles. But with those smaller guys, all it takes is one good smack running over the center of the field, and now your top pick is out for the year, So, you look at the receiving core of Philadelphia. You have Rager, who was injured for a good portion of the year last year. You have Arcega-Whiteside, who, if he is your wide receiver 4, perhaps you're doing okay. Travis Fulgham, he had a pretty good 2 or 3 week stretch last year, but is he going to be wide receiver 1 for any other team in the league? I don't think so.
2, maybe even a 3.
Yeah, I was about to say. Greg Ward Jr. It's kind of depressing, honestly, if you go through it. Zach Ertz, I think he's already gone. If not, he will be very soon.
That's what I was gonna ask you about a potential trade that I saw. Atlanta needs a tight end.
Yep.
They've rumored to be shopping Julio.
Yeah.
How would you feel? I think I know your answer. Of Zach Ertz, a 2nd round pick, maybe another future 3rd or 4th to go get Julio.
Well, how many years is left on Julio's deal?
I believe it's 3 years. if it's designated as a post June 1st, I think the acquiring team only takes on like $11 million of his contract each of those years.
I mean, and so what would Philly be giving up? They'd be giving up Ertz, a second, and what else?
A future
first?
third.
Oh, a future third. I mean, I could talk myself into it, especially if they gave Julio someone complimentary. If they got Julio, who is a volume receiver, if they gave him someone like I mean, they already have Rager, right? Rager, he's kind of the speed freak. That's why they took him over Jefferson last year. If you could have Rager going over the top and potentially making big plays, if you could have Julio eating up a majority of the catches, if you could get lucky and fall into Devontae Smith at 12, I could talk myself into it. I don't know. I don't think that would be able to happen. I mean, Ertz doesn't want to be there, right? So you basically need to get him out of town, and then you have Dallas Goedert, who would be the starting tight end then, and he's serviceable. I mean, you're not gonna. He's not Travis Kelce, right? But there's only one of those in the league. I mean, even Zach Ertz isn't what he was 3 years ago now.
Yeah.
So for only $11 million a year, I could talk myself into it, but man,
that could also be very helpful in the sense of you do trade them Ertz. Maybe then Atlanta doesn't take Kyle Pitts at 4.
Yeah.
Whether they trade or they take somebody else, and that pushes Pitts down to 6, which then pushes Chase down to 7, Waddle down to 10 or 11, and then Smith at 12. So I mean, it would help. It could pan out better that way, but
right, because and also, I mean, is it how do I want to say this? Let's say New England doesn't trade into the top 10. New England doesn't take Fields at 7 with Detroit's pick. Who would Detroit take at 7?
Wide receiver is the only one that makes sense.
Exactly. So even if Atlanta doesn't take Kyle Pitts, you would still need another piece of the puzzle to fall right. So unless New England trades into 10, then perhaps. But I don't know. That's so tricky. Yeah, 12 is just not a good spot, and I really don't want to see Philadelphia give up anything that they got to try to get back into, unless you're going to get up to like 5, which Cincinnati's not giving up 5. No. But unless you're getting up there, it's like, why would you give up everything you just got to go up to 8? You already had 6.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
I think it makes total sense. Is there a player or a position you don't want them to take at 12?
I mean, they really need everything, don't they?
Can I say pretty much?
I was about to say, can I say kicker, or is that kind of a cop out?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't. Let's see. I would hate if they took. I mean, they're not going to go with safety. They're not going to reach for a tight end. I don't think they're not going to go running back. I mean, everything on the board. I don't think it would make a lot of sense for them to go offensive line just because of how much talent's available throughout the draft and how many picks that they have.
But. And the thing is, it's like they're all in on Jalen Hurts this year, right? They just shipped Wentz out of town. The rumors coming out of Philly is that Lurie wants the offense built around Jalen. And it's like, that's fine. And so if you're going to say that, that means basically your whole offensive or your whole mindset this offseason is offensive. Whether that means giving up part of your future to go after Julio Jones, whether that means hoping and praying Devontae Smith falls to you at 12. I mean, go back, scroll back into your top 10 right there. I mean, the players that, because everyone from 7, well, I could see Fields falling to Philadelphia. And if Fields falls to Philadelphia, I mean, I would not be mad if they took him, but then all of a sudden you got the same storyline for the whole year. So yeah,
Yeah.
and
I think
you're not getting Sewell, and really it doesn't make sense to draft Surtain or Horn just because you already have Darius Slay. Um, man, that is just a terrible spot to be in at 12.
I think I would be okay if they took Horn because he's a big physical press corner that they could use, which
Yeah.
they've kind of been lacking. I will say with the quarterbacks, if Trey Lance goes 3, it's a lot harder to predict where the rest go. If Mac Jones goes 3, I think Trey Lance goes in the top 10, and I think Justin Fields gets no further than 15.
Yeah.
But in this scenario, if Lance goes 3, I don't see anybody else in that top 10 that's that high on Mac Jones. I don't think he's going to go that high, and that's going to bump him all the way down. Like I think I have him at what 19.
19, yeah.
So the quarterback, how the quarterbacks fall is going to be very interesting to watch. I wish I knew where Justin Fields was going because he is so far up. I would take him 2. I would definitely take him 3. If I'm Atlanta at 4, I would probably consider it.
Yeah.
Miami at 6, I would consider it. Lions at 7, I would do it. Panthers at 8, I would do it. Broncos at 9, I would do it without question. Giants at 11, I would consider it. Eagles, I do it.
Yep.
I'm not doing it with the Chargers. Vikings, I would do it. Patriots, if they stay at 15, would no brainer. That'd be his floor. Raiders, I would do it. Dolphins, I would do it at 18. If you don't do it at 6, Washington 19, you do it. I just don't
Yep.
understand how some people have him falling out of the top 20 when I see 8 or 9 teams between picks 4 and 20 that could take him or that should take him. It doesn't make sense. I don't know why he's falling so bad when there's nothing about his character is bad, nothing about his tape is bad, nothing about his on the field, off the field workouts, pure talent. None of it is bad. There's nothing to not like about him. He's just as talented
I mean,
as
it would
any other quarterbacks. He's just as brilliant off the field as any other quarterbacks.
So if quarterbacks go 1 through 4 and it doesn't include Justin Fields, I mean, you're probably looking. I mean, I would assume would Cincinnati go Jamar Chase over Kyle Pitts if both are available at 5?
I think they take Jamar Chase because of his connection with Burrow. I think Burrow's going to kind of pound the table to get him back. But then, I mean, that puts Pitts at 6.
Yeah.
Waddle probably then goes 7. And then you maybe get into the conversation of Fields at 8, 9, or 10.
Yeah.
Dallas wouldn't be taking him at 10. They'd be trading back. But
and even then, because really the only reason I'm talking about is trying to find a way that Smith falls to 12. And New York, I don't see them taking either of the cornerbacks should they fall to 11. I don't see them taking that over DeVonta Smith, because especially when they know that Philadelphia is praying DeVonta Smith falls at 12. Man, this is just a really terrible spot to be in if you're Philadelphia.
Which we saw that, I believe last year with when the Vikings were picking at 22.
Yeah.
The Packers offered to move up to come get Justin Jefferson with the Vikings. The Vikings knew that they were going to go after Jefferson, and then they just took him instead because they didn't want him to go to Green Bay.
I mean, really, what I would prefer in this scenario is just get out of 12 and trade back to the later part of the first round and then try to get another future first out of that pick. If you got 2 future firsts for the 6th pick, and then at the end of the first, you're taking Travis Etienne, I would like that quite a bit, because now you're giving someone who can do volume carries along with Miles Sanders. You would kind of take a little bit of the pressure off of Jalen Hurts to get the ball downfield. But then, I mean, you have no offensive line, right? So, I mean, I don't know what kind of run protection you're going to have. You still have no receivers, so everybody knows that the run's going to be coming. The defense, they're probably still going to give up 30 points a game. They're just in a really terrible spot at the moment.
Yeah, I think if they do, say they trade back into the late 20s, the receivers to keep an eye on would be Bateman, Terrace Marshall out of LSU, Rondell Moore, but I think Rondell Moore's too small. I don't think they would want to take a guy of his size after already having Rager. Same with Amari Rogers. De'Ami Brown at the top of the second round, I think they have pick 37. If they can get De'Ami Brown at 37, which is a lot higher than he is on the board, but I think his talent is going to be very much worth that high of a pick. I would take that. Yeah, they don't have to go wide receiver at 12. If they wanted to go J.C. Horn at 12 and then try to get receiver in the second, that's not horrible. You could do a lot worse.
Yeah.
But it's obviously the Eagles fans are going to be pissed because they didn't take a receiver when, I mean, yeah, you need it. You also need offensive line help. We probably need to get younger in the trenches because your defensive line, I mean, you can't trust Brandon Graham for more than like a year.
Yeah.
Linebackers aren't good. Secondary's not good. Yeah, Eagles are in a very bad spot. Should have just stuck at 6, or at least traded on draft night.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks that, I mean, going from 6 to 12 is bad enough, right? Whenever you don't get maximum value for that pick, that makes it even worse. And don't get me wrong, having a future first rounder from Miami, I mean, that's great, but do you really think Miami is going to give you a high pick next year? No, that pick's probably going to be somewhere in the mid to late 20s, if I'm guessing, you know?
Yeah.
So that's right. And I mean, by all accounts at the moment, I don't see Philadelphia, should they keep their pick, getting any worse than like 6th again. I mean, looking at that team, are they a 5-win team?
I don't know.
I mean, honest to God, I don't know if they're a 5-win team, just because they have so many holes, and it's like, if you can keep that defense on the, like, just having a decent run game and making 36-year-old defensive linemen be on the field for 40 minutes a game, I mean, Jesus. I mean, you already know, like, Philadelphia doesn't have the offensive firepower to put up 40, okay? They probably are going to have a lot of trouble this year scoring 30 on a lot of teams. Even in division, I would have trouble scoring like 28. So as long as you can keep the defense on the field, or just put enough big plays on them to where, you know, you got them down like 21-3 midway through the second, the game's already over at that point. And so it's going to be such a rough year. Sirianni as well. I mean, that's not a great. I mean, I feel bad for dude because, one, I didn't really like the pick whenever he got hired, and two, he's got no talent to work with, especially when he's being told that the offense needs to revolve around Hurts, and it's like, boy, oh boy. I mean, what a shit show in Philadelphia.
I love it.
I mean, really, there could be an outside chance that they're in talks for the number 1 pick next year. I mean, the Jets weren't terrible at the end of last year. They were terrible for the first 12 weeks, but the last 4, they're a Hail Mary away from against the Raiders from potentially having the 3 pick. And then Miami would have been in the 2 slot. And then who knows what would. So, I mean, the Jets say Zach Wilson is what people say he is. Say they get him up to 5 wins. Okay, that's more than what I think Philadelphia is going to get. Jacksonville, they were 1-15. You put Trevor Lawrence in a host of receivers around him with Urban Meyer. You're telling me they're not getting 5 wins in a weak AFC South? Okay, I'll take it. Now, Houston, that one could be tricky because, one, they have no offensive talent. They don't even know if Deshaun Watson is going to be playing this year. They have a. I would probably say they're the number 1. They're the odds-on favorite to be the number 1 pick next year. Yeah. But I mean, it is such a bleak outlook for 2021 for the Eagles that it's like, man, Can't say I'm a bandwagon because this shit sucks, man.
Yeah, it's so bad for them. They did not do themselves any favors.
No.
It's unfortunate. Well, I know the Vikings will be getting the number 1 pick next year. That's rough. They have to battle with those trash asses. Let's see who. I don't really know. Man, I can't believe I don't have Ojulari going round 1. Alex Leatherwood probably goes. Let's see. Who's the biggest surprise to go round 1 or top of round 2? Jamar Johnson. Tommy Tremble, I think, is going to be a guy that goes in the top 50 that nobody's going to see coming. Love it. Another Notre Dame guy. Hate on it all you want. Davis Mills, baby, top quarterback in the country. Kellen Mond. Where's Kyle Trask at? 102, baby. Sounds about right. I've never seen a quarterback with as poor of arm talent and mobility get so much consideration as a first-round pick in my life. If that didn't have Kyle Pitts last year, that dude's not doing shit. He's not coming close to the Heisman. And that's impressive, saying that a tight end saved your season, especially at the college level. Warren G's son, Elijah Griffin, baller. Had to regulate. There's some really good talent in this draft. I don't care what anybody says. And then it's just the first step of the Vikings winning the 2021-2022 Super Bowl. Reloading in the next year draft.
Yeah.
Do you have any early favorite to be a number 1 pick next year? Have you looked into it at all?
I haven't, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I haven't either. If I had to put money on it right now, I would say Spencer Rattler, but Sam Howell's probably like a very safe pick as well.
Yeah.
I have not looked into it. Maybe I'll bring back the draft guide next year.
Ooh, that'd be nice. But yeah, no, it's pretty depressing. Now that we've talked about the Eagles and just absolutely sucking for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, I mean, it's what to expect when you haven't drafted well since 2016. You have no young talent. You have a bunch of money invested in old veterans that haven't been as impressive in the last few years. I mean, just really bad handling of the roster.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you this. What is worse, the Eagles' forecast for the 2021 season or the injury suffered by Chris Weidman on Saturday night?
The Eagles, because Weidman's is only going to last about a year, and the Eagles could last several. That was so nasty, dude. And then I'm getting over that injury. Like, it's still fresh in my mind. I'm just trying to throw up, and I turn on the Pacers game. In the middle of watching Fernando Tatis, I want to watch him hit a home run, which he does when I change the channel. And then Devin Kennedy of the Magic goes up to block a shot. And, I mean, you hear blood-curdling screams as I think they said it was an open fracture of his ankle, blood pouring onto the court. I'm sitting here, my stomach hurts. I'm about to throw up. I feel so bad for the guy because he just got called up to the roster like a month ago.
Yeah.
And he's playing against his hometown team. I believe he's from Marion. And oh, my God, it was rough. And, two of the most gruesome injuries you'll see happen in back-to-back nights.
Yeah, I don't know. The Weidman injury, I would say that one's probably rougher because, it's the exact same injury Anderson Silva suffered against him 8 years ago. The leg, he goes to throw that leg kick, and I know you guys cannot see it on the podcast. Well, actually, maybe so. Let me stand up for this. Hold on. Okay. Whenever you throw a kick, right, if you land here, that's fine. That's all soft tissue, right? If you throw a calf kick and it lands here, that's fine. That's all soft tissue. What you don't want to do is land here. That is straight bone. And that is exactly what happened. The first kick of the fight. Throws a full force leg kick. Uriah Hall checks it, and that leg wraps around the. Oh.
And that's not even the worst part.
That was
stepping back on.
The step back. It folds, and then it's and then they show the replay, and you could hear the moment, the collective audience. I don't know what was louder, the "fuck Jake Paul" chants or the throwing up noises I heard once they showed Weidman's injury on the big screen.
It was so bad. I'm getting queasy just thinking about it.
That was what a surreal twist of fate. And then you had Uriah Hall just sitting in the octagon afterwards, and like the whole time didn't crack a smile. I don't even know if he looked away from the same spot. I mean, that was. And speaking of the UFC show, since we're already talking about it, how much fun was that on Saturday night? That was a packed arena. Now, we can. That neither here nor there, but it was so much fun. The prelim fights might be fight of the year. They probably won't get too much consideration considering they were like 45 minutes into the show. They should, though. Those were fantastic fights. You had Daniel Cormier and Jake Paul getting into it in the crowd. Daniel Cormier, boy, if Jake Paul wants to sign his life will and testament, just step into the cage with Cormier. Cormier ain't going into a squared circle. But then you had Thug Rose Namajunas head kick, new champion. Valentina Shevchenko in the crucifix elbows. It was over. And then Kamaru Usman with that money-making right hand put Masvidal to sleep.
Masvidal was out there laughing and mocking, and then about 2 seconds later, he was fucking iced out on the floor.
He was iced. He was iced before he hit the floor. As soon as that punch connects, dude was going to fall straight back, and then Usman shoulder checks him. And he falls over like a sack of potatoes, couple hammer fists. Herb Dean, I mean, he's gotten some heat lately for stopping fights early, but man, those last like 4 shots, didn't need to see that. Nope. That fight was over. He was like, "Are you dead yet?" 2 shots there. "Are you sure you're dead?" Okay, let's and oh my god.
That was rough. Hey, I love a good knockout. Hey, that the Namajunas kick baller.
Whew. And then Zhang Wei Li, she tried to protest the fight saying she wasn't out. Meanwhile, she's on spaghetti legs. Probably doesn't know what I mean. And then in the post-fight interview, she's like, "We'll run it back. I forget what I was saying." It's like, because you just got concussed.
Nah, she wasn't out. It was fine. Nothing to worry about. That's brutal. Yeah, that was a good fight card.
It was.
I didn't catch any of it live. I had to catch it all through replays. I don't remember. I looked at the upcoming schedule for the UFC. I didn't see anything that really struck an eye.
Well, there's a couple fights in May that I'm going to miss. The big one from the UFC is going to be the Iron Mike Chandler and Charles Oliveira card. That's for the vacant lightweight title. That falls in like the middle of May. I'm going to end up missing that. And then there's a couple big boxing cards this Saturday night. Andy Ruiz makes his return to the ring against Chris Arreola. You have next weekend, May 8th, Mexican Cinco de Mayo weekend. Canelo, WBA, WBO, WBC, Ring Magazine unified title against Billy Joe Saunders. That's going to be a lot of fun. Jose Ramirez, Josh Taylor for the undisputed junior welterweight title. That's going to be a lot of fun. May is a big fight month, and I'm going to end up missing basically all of it. Imagine how pissed I am.
Hey, it happens.
Yeah. And then, I don't know. I mean, there was some fun stuff from over the weekend. Nick Diaz thinks he's going to be back. That'd be a lot of fun. McGregor called out Usman, even though McGregor's 3-3 in his last 6 fights and beat an old, washed-up Donald Cerrone at 170. Dude's not going to touch Usman. And if so, Usman's going to wrestle fuck him to the ground and just make his life a living hell. What else was Jake Paul again? He was probably the biggest star on Saturday night. Literally got his name chanted the whole evening. Good on him. Yeah, I mean, God, I hate that I'm gonna miss so much in May, but hey, that's the way the ball bounces, you know?
Happens sometimes.
It does, man. It does.
Shit. Well, I ain't got much else.
I don't either. You want to do a podcast Sunday? We'll recap the draft and we'll give our reaction to it.
Maybe.
All right, maybe so.
We'll keep it. If not, I can do it earlier in the week.
Okay.
Or early next week.
Okay. Sounds good. And then we'll figure out how the next month's gonna go. Because if I'm not gonna keep up with sports, that's gonna be a very boring side of my podcast. For those of you who don't know, I'm prepping for my MCAT in June, and I'm taking the whole next month to prep for that. So, keep your boy in your thoughts if you're watching this. Hopefully, gonna make a little magic happen this fall. So, we will see. So
hell yeah. Shit. I will be keeping up with sports. That's all I do. Yeah, other than that, pretty much boring over here as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Killer. But yeah, maybe we should be back sometime in the next few days, hammering out some thoughts, and then yeah, let's go. Let's figure out a time. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, something like that, and then we'll be back. But for now, peace out. Use this as a cheat sheet, and let's get rolling.
Make your bank accounts great, boys. Let's do it.
Yes, sir.
Peace out.